Pisces.
Hello Pisces, this is your astrological forecast for February 2016, and we have a long list of beautiful transits here this month, and I think this is going to be leaving you feeling quite happy by the end of this report. What we have first I want to mention is the new moon here in Aquarius, your 12th house, and that is taking place here on the 8th, and what that will do is allow you to kind of really contemplate what has been taking place this whole last year. You're preparing yourself for next month, which is your birth month, and looking back at your accomplishments is really also going to inspire you for what it is you're going to be thinking up a big, beautiful, creative storm of what you want to move forward with here in March. Now, the full moon will be in your 7th house for love and relationships, and this full moon here is going to be illuminating the area of how to grow, how to interact, how you're sharing with your partner, whether that is your significant other or it could be somebody you're working with closely, one-on-one. Now, this full moon will be taking place on the 22nd, and 3 degrees there in Virgo. And when we have a full moon in the sign of Virgo, well, we take on the qualities of Virgo, which is analytical. We might be thinking a whole lot, analyzing a lot, analyzing where we're at with our partner, how are we interacting, and so forth. And some situations may now just bloom up here towards that end of the month. But since we're talking about the luminaries, I do want to mention that next month, your birth month, we have 2 eclipses. We have the solar and the lunar both, and I will be making a special edition just for the solar lunar eclipse for March. So those of you who are subscribers, you'll be getting those videos directly to your inbox. Now, your sun is also passing through the 12th house. So along with that new moon, the sun being the essence of you, it's in your house upon which you rule. So they're both very comfortable here, but having both luminaries here is allowing you definitely to get in touch with your creative juices and your forces, and maybe even wanting to find a little time to step back just to be within your own ebb. Think about being a Pisces. You know, you're the ocean, so there's ebb and flow, and that might be a little difficult to find this month. Why? Because we got so much going on in your social house. So February is going to be busy. We have Venus, we got Pluto, and we got Mercury there, and the 11th house is all about circles of friends, groups, organizations, and just getting out and about, interacting with people. So a busy month, but a very good month, and you will see as we start detailing out those transits. But having Venus in Capricorn, Capricorn's all about security, isn't it? Wanting to build securely, one step at a time. So when Venus is involved, you're looking at your emotions. How do you feel within your circle of friends? What is it you want to establish? That Capricornian energy with Saturn is going to ground a few things for you, so you're going to feel that you're on not rock bottom, but on solid ground to really embrace and capture those things, anchor it down, and it will be intensifying as we go through those very first days of February, because Venus is going to be crossing the point of Pluto. Now, Pluto is that a transformational point in our scope. It rules Scorpio, and so when we get these two together, we find depth, passion, intimacy, secrecy, sometimes too, but also money, because Venus rules money and Pluto rules big money. So look at what takes place for you around the 5th. Mercury being here too, well, that's you making sure that your communications are clear to the people that you're sharing with, and there's a sense of seriousness around your communication, because it being Saturnian from that Capricorn, well, that's just you making sure that you are heard the way you wish to be heard, and also the way you're receiving information as well. Now, Mercury having been retrograde there in January, it gave you a little extra extended time in your social area. So you might have seen how things were picking up, maybe getting in touch with friends you haven't seen for a long time. That could be the deal. But it could also be you reaching out into those past situations and trying to refine or retweak information that could have now be a new ground for what you're expecting to get here as Mercury's picking up speed and moving forward into more of a creative field. We have Mars, where we're talking about passion with Venus there with Pluto. Well, lo and behold, Mars is moving through the sign of Scorpio. And so a little bit of the same thing here. Mars, though, being your drive and your goals and so forth, cruising through the 9th house of higher consciousness, you might now feel that you're soaring towards wanting to know more spiritually, expanding the area of your knowledge base, your wisdom base. And you might be seeking in areas that you haven't sought for a long time, or maybe even into new areas that are really captivating your attention. And I feel how your higher chakras are really working here in February. There might also be news from afar that could in some ways affect you. I feel in a way of emotions where you might kick into action of some sorts. But also we can see that you might be wanting to take on a course where you can deepen certain fields, because I see all this research, it's going somewhere. Some of it is for your own personal expansion and growth, of course, but then I'm seeing some of you Pisces really getting into it as if you're preparing for what is to come later on here, springtime, when Mars is going to go into your 10th house of career. So you might be getting all your ducks in a row, and more on that next month, because March is going to be a big career month for you. More on that next month. But yeah, any preparation, any research you do now is something that is going to behoove you. If you're working on any case, litigation, Mars will be helpful and supportive this month. It rules, of course, anything of the courts. And so in this case, I feel that you can be super strong to get your points across and to be heard. And it also goes for those of you within publishing and getting yourself out there. Mars is definitely in the drive. You know, Mars was the ancient ruler of Scorpio, so this placement here, I feel, will get you to where you want to go. But we have Jupiter still now retrograde, will be until that of May 10th. So it's giving you an extended time, and it's not in a bad area to have Jupiter for all these extended months. It's your 7th house for love and relationships. So many of you Pisces will come to see how you're going to be interacting and sharing and being dynamic with your partner. Those of you who are single, well, this could be a time where you can reconnect with somebody from the past, since Jupiter is retrograde. But there could also be partnerships coming into mention here, and it could be partners you've worked with in the past where things slow down and didn't really feel that it had really accomplished anything. Well, lo and behold, old propositions and old potentials can now come up to the surface again. And this is what we love about Jupiter retrograde, because even though it's retrograde, Jupiter is still the giver of all good benefits. It's abundant, right? So there could be perhaps something that was proposed to you, and if you didn't have time to act upon it when it was initially proposed, it may come back around now. And this could be a time to actually go in and look at it and see what it can actually do for you. Now, that full moon will be passing over that Jupiter here towards the end of the month. And so within that first 24-hour span, so they're not necessarily conjunct at the exact time of the full moon, but within those 24 hours, it's still full and it's still going to be illuminating this area. So do circle the 22nd in your calendar just to see now what Jupiter can actually add to the mix. But as we start off the month, we got Mars and Pluto. They are sextile. Mars being your physical energy. It's also your dynamic goals, Pisces. And so when it comes together with Pluto, we got dynamite and we got nuclear power coming together. So you're so driven right now. And for you, this will be the area of the 9th house and the 11th house. So it's wanting to expand your field. And that could be with groups and organizations. It could be with people at faraway locations, the 9th house. When they work together like this, you're actually not pulling the plug on something, but plugging something in, and suddenly you've got electricity. Now, not only is that fascinating since you are such a creative spirit, but the sun, which is you, is sextiling Saturn on the very same day. We're talking about February 3rd, so you're starting off great. Saturn will want to secure and ground and anchor something that you feel is important to you, the essence of you, which is the sun. Whatever you do on the 3rd, pay attention to the 5th, because Mars is paving the way for Venus. On the 5th, Venus is coming in to the conjunction in the 11th house, and so that rules money, Venus does, and then Pluto, big money, but it's also hopes and dreams. So we're seeing the infusion of these energies really starting to pulse. And conjunctions are always new beginnings. So whatever that is on the 5th for you, your hopes and dreams, make them come true. On the 6th, you will feel that there's such a grounding, a manifestation type energy coming in as the sun, which is you, and then Uranus coming in with unexpected news. Uranus is always full of surprises. It's also very electrifying. And so whenever we get these happy shock factors, well, that just opens doors. And pay attention to the 6th. You already started out super strong, but here on the 6th, Sun and Uranus sextile, but then we have Mercury, the bearer of news and communications. From who? None less than Jupiter. Jupiter, which is going to expand and grow this area for you. Mercury being in your 11th house as well, and Jupiter in your 7th house. So that could be news from a partner, somebody that you work very closely with. It could be a broker or a friend, or it could even be a client. But this is happy news because Jupiter will give you nothing less but top shelf. Now, when this takes place, you're going to liberate, and this is because Venus and Saturn also on the 6th. This is all on the same day. Venus will liberate from something that has felt maybe somewhat constricting to you. And suddenly, pop goes the weasel, the lock is open, and you can let go of something which I feel you'll be happy to let go of, because here we have Venus and Mars sextiling on the 7th. So that's love and romance. It's yin yang, right? But it's also money and direction. So we got to look at all aspects of what Venus and Mars represents. So we have passion, we have desire, we have goals, we have dedication, and we have romance. So these are really, really tight and strong. It's your 7th and 9th house, no, excuse me, your 11th and 9th house, again, popping up. So between these two, well, the new moon will only come and add to it on the 7th. No, excuse me, on the 8th. So the new moon there in your 12th house, you are bringing up things from the past, from your subconsciousness, spiritually too, coming in. And the alignment here for you, I just feel it's going to be a super powerful new moon. Make sure that you now write down your intentions, not just for February, but for the rest of 2016, because the new moon's not coming into this place again before near about the same time next year in 2017. And at that point, Venus and Mars won't be that close to it. So the 8th is definitely something to circle in on your chart. But we don't stop here. There's even more coming in with so many glorious aspects here. Pisces, you want to make sure you go listen to your partner's horoscope as well, just to see where he or she are going to be receiving all of these beautiful benefits. On the 10th, Venus, love and romance, those things that you desire, also money, coming in here with a great expansion from none less than Jupiter. So Jupiter is going to bestow upon you something you're going to be very, very happy for. And this is, again, coming from an area, from someone you work closely with. And also Venus here in the 11th house, it can expand you and shut you into your hopes and dreams and desires. But it could also indicate that you might start a new, should I say, circle of friends or somebody important to you within a group or also organizations. And in that case, let me tell you, you are in good hands. On the 13th, whatever Venus did on the 10th, Mars is going to do the same thing with Jupiter. So now we're honing in a little bit closer on it because Venus was in the area of friendships or groups. Mars is in the area of somebody far away, out of state, out of country perhaps, or somebody working within higher justice systems with influence that now can open that door from Jupiter, which will allow you to partake maybe in a new partnership. In that case, I feel that the people involved, they are good, they're honest, even though that Jupiter is retrograde. But then again, this might be from a source from the past, and in that case, it's all good. It's just that now it's coming back up, and it's time to work with matters. Which brings us to the 26th, when Mercury and Uranus, they come together in a sextile. So Mercury brings always news to us, whether it's a message or phone call, but this should really trigger your 2nd house Uranus transit, which has to do with money. So news of money, or it could be contracts about money, whatever the deal is for you, it's positive. Sextiles are always great energies to work with. And then on the 29th, Venus is now securing you through Saturn. Saturn wants to manifest, it wants to round throughout the anchor, hone it in. You know the rings of Saturn, right? So what it's doing, it's embracing Venus, securing you romantically, but also securing you and your financial income, money. So you should see that this also is wonderful. And it brings us to the end of the month, Pisces. And you know, it's like when you listen early in the month, we really tune into what we recognize. The things that we don't know about yet, it kind of like it's words and it goes in here and out there because it doesn't resonate yet. But I can promise you, if you listen to the forecasts at the end of the month, looking back, you will see how things fell into place. Boom, 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 like this. So it always does behoove us to re-listen here before we listen to the next month's forecast, because then we can catch the flow from previous month into the new month. So I would always suggest listening twice a month, the beginning and then at the end. But you have a very creative month, so pay attention to circle of friends, what they're saying, what they might be sharing, but also what new groups you can affiliate with, which really can have your back. So listen, this is what I have for you here today. You might want to listen to your Horoskopes because that's different information, but the cards will give you a different type of visual aspect of what you can come to expect. Whereas when we listen to the astrology, we look at the energies of things. So both of them together combined really gives a great insight. So listen, enjoy your month, and I will see you in March, Pisces.